Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Steel City Sports Report, where we talk everything Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. I am your host, Brady Vini. Hope all of you had a good weekend because it was a busy weekend in the Pittsburgh sports world and landscape. Tons of news popping off surrounding mostly the Aaron Rodgers situation. Was Rodgers in Pittsburgh this weekend? Did he meet with the Steelers? Did anything change from when we last spoke? Is he actually coming back or not? We have a few answers to those, maybe not necessarily the ones that we would like to hear, but we do have those answers nonetheless. So we'll begin the show off here in a moment talking about a bunch of Steeler things. An extension was made today with one of the veterans on the team. I'm sure everybody will be pleased with it. We'll talk about the Aaron Rodgers stuff a little bit, and also we'll talk about Steelers minicamp or rookie minicamp, I should say, that took place this weekend. And it looks like Mike McCarthy has a new favorite pet, that is for sure. So we'll talk a ton about the Steelers. Looking forward to your guys' opinions and feedback on that here this evening. We'll get into some Pittsburgh Pirates baseball as well. The Bucks just wrapping up a 3-game weekend series with the San Francisco Giants out on the West Coast. One game still for the Bucks. One game, not so much, and then the one yesterday, a bit of a mixed bag. There's one area on this Pittsburgh Pirates roster that I am starting to get extremely worried about, and General Manager Ben Cherington, he might until the trade deadline get going, making sure this issue gets fixed. After that, we'll get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news of the day and of the weekend. A little bit of Pittsburgh Penguins stuff, a few extra Steelers and Pirates notes as well. But before we officially get things going here on this Monday night, if you are new here, welcome to the Steel City Sports Report. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button so that you never miss a live stream or video here on the channel again. Also, would appreciate it if you like this live stream, share this live stream, and in the comment section, any thoughts, questions, or opinions that you beautiful people may have here on this Monday evening. Feel free to let your voices be heard. I can pop up your comments on the screen right here at a moment's notice. Also, go check out the channel at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X. And a new edition of SCSR 60 will be out eventually later on here tonight. To the comments section, concepts. Welcome back, Concept. Big Steve here on the channel. Lots of big time fans on here. We get some Penguins and Pirates fans as well. Like I said, we are going to start off talking about the Steelers here today, and it was a big weekend, pretty much as big of a off-season weekend as you can get for the Steelers, because we thought that the Aaron Rodgers situation, saga, drama series, whatever the hell you want to call it, we all thought that that was finally coming to an end. And the Steelers, they did reach an agreement, just not with Aaron Rodgers himself. What I'm referring to, of course, is you see on your screen right now, the Steelers just getting an extension done with kicker Chris Boswell today. It is a 4-year deal worth $28 million. So the Wizard of Boz going to be staying in Pittsburgh until, I believe, his age 39 season, that being 2030. He will make $7 million a year. I believe that ties him with Brandon Aubrey of the Dallas Cowboys for the highest paid kicker in the NFL. I mean, Boz, does he deserve the money? Yes. Maybe that long of a term, I don't know. Don't know when the fall off the cliff per se would occur for Boswell, but the way he booms balls still looks confident when he strides out there. I'm glad that the deal got done with Boz, that is for sure. On the other hand, though, the guy we were really hoping to get a deal done this weekend, it was quarterback Aaron Rodgers, and that did not happen. Did not even come close to happening. As a fact, Rodgers was in Pittsburgh. This came after a report from 93.7, the fans' morning show back on Thursday, that Rodgers would be in Pittsburgh as soon as Friday night, and he could re-sign at any time during the weekend. Ian Rappaport and a couple other NFL insiders picked up on it as well. Turns out Rodgers did not even visit the Steelers today. You had Adam Schefter, among many other NFL insiders, both local and nationally, go out there today and say Aaron Rodgers was indeed in this weekend, but he was not at the Steelers facility a single time. The exact quote here from Adam Schefter: Aaron Rodgers was not at the Steelers facility once this weekend. I don't think anything has changed, and I still think he ends up back there with the Steelers. Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette said that Rodgers was in town for pretty much the entire weekend. I mean, hell, if Rodgers was in town and he didn't go and, at least stop by the facility to even, say hello and a handshake to Omar, just do some positive showing of face there, then what the hell was he doing? I mean, was there some sort of party, golf tournament, anything like that Rodgers was into that he was, in town for besides the Steelers? So Rodgers was in town. Who the hell knows what he was doing? Adam Schefter doubled down on saying the Steelers didn't know Rodgers was coming to Pittsburgh, sort of picking up where Mark Kaboli left off back on Friday. And apparently Rodgers' agent, according to Schefter, did not know that Rodgers was going to Pittsburgh either. So pretty much all parties except for, the man himself, Rodgers, by surprise. No meeting was ever scheduled. No meeting ever took place. So we're still wait and see on the Aaron Rodgers front. And nothing has changed. It's just instead of waiting for Rodgers to make a decision from Malibu, California for one weekend, we were waiting for him to make a decision from beautiful Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Who the hell knows where Rodgers is now? I highly doubt he's still in Pittsburgh. He probably is all the way back out in California right now. And we're still on wait and see time. Insiders are still saying it looks like Rodgers is going to be the Steelers quarterback, just not yet, which, kind of that's the wall right now. Rodgers and all the movement that he's done this offseason, talks with McCarthy about, practice schedules and all that, coming to Pittsburgh doesn't really seem like anything a retired man would be doing right now. So looks like Rodgers is going to be the Steelers quarterback still, but just saga did not this weekend like what we all hoped for. Would really love to turn the page and talk about, all right, Rodgers is here. Now, what is the limit for this offense? What is, how's he looking in this McCarthy system? Is he going to be able to get everybody else up to speed with the new offense? Is, the two young guys, Howard and Aller, are they going to be getting any sort of look? How is their development affected by Rodgers back, or is it, boosted by Rodgers being back? All of that stuff. Wish we could just, talk about that straightforward now, but nope. Still waiting on what, for whatever reason, is the holdup between Rodgers and the Steelers. Is it money? I don't know. Steelers have a good bit of cap space. They already got the UFA tender in place to pay him $15 million. So, I think the Steelers do have money to go up from there. Is it, what is it I'm looking for here? The built-in, the construction of the contract, incentives and all that. Is that holding this up here? I don't know. So Rodgers thing continues on. The next date that I would guess to look for would be May 18th, coming up here in about 7 days. That is the next sort of mini camp portion of team activities. I think everybody will be back in Pittsburgh. We'll see if Rodgers shows up before then. If not, then we are most likely waiting till, June, sometime right before training camp, kind of like what we did last year, a year later, and we're almost on the same exact timeline. I wonder if Rodgers is waiting maybe to, spite some people. Reports got out that he was in town. Maybe he said, oh, you guys think I'm in town to sign a deal? Guess what? I'm not signing it now. Rodgers, a very spiteful dude. Whatever the media says he's going to do, he, does the opposite. Maybe he's even doing that with Omar Khan. You remember Omar Khan back a couple of months ago saying he doesn't anticipate the whole Rodgers situation to go the same last year. Well, Rodgers is like, all right, well, that's what it is. I'm going to wait till June sometime, and then we'll make my decision then. So Rodgers stuff continues. Mike McCarthy was asked about it at Steelers rookie minicamp, said that, the possibility of adding Rodgers before OTAs begin. He said, 3 quarterbacks is normal. 4 would be awesome. So McCarthy still sticking true to bringing in as many quarterbacks as possible. And it seems like McCarthy deep down knows that Rodgers was going to be here. And speaking of rookie OTAs, that is the last, but certainly not the least, of the fascinating news stories going on with the Steelers this past weekend. Chris Boswell gets an extension done. Aaron Rodgers not signing quite yet. And you have the Steelers doing their rookie mini camp. And this picture right here that you are seeing on the screen right now, that is the biggest takeaway, I would say, from this past weekend of rookie mini camp. Fowler, Mike McCarthy, all eyes on number 16 in black and gold, the Penn State product, and the eyes on him the most right there, Mike McCarthy. You can go on, Twitter if you were, on there back on Saturday, I believe it was, and you could not find a single picture, video, or if you did, then you were very, very lucky, where Mike McCarthy was not, breathing down Drew Allen's neck, making sure that his guy, very heavy work for Aller on his footwork and mechanics from Mike McCarthy. Tom Arth was there as well. You saw multiple drills of Aller, just making sure he's getting his footwork right there from Mike McCarthy. So looks like McCarthy has got his guy. I immediately thought this, but I want to see, how things play out once we get full team activities back together. This does really, I think, put some concern in the pro Will Howard camp. I'm still a pro Will Howard guy as well, but I would not be shocked in the slightest if seeing McCarthy and how tied to the hip he was with Drew Aller this past weekend, if, say, there is a situation where Rodgers goes down, midway through the season, Mason Rudolph is either not here or something's going on with him. And I could see a world now, just seeing McCarthy. Aller's his guy. And I think Aller might be given a little bit of a, preconceived edge over Will Howard, because Aller is McCarthy's guy. And these videos and pictures from the past week, and they definitely come that. So Aller, hot and heavy in the Mike McCarthy quarterback lab. Got a lot to work on. That is for sure. These videos, they show how raw and wild Aller's feet really are. So he has got a ton of growing up to do there. I'm not, saying that, given a double meaning, saying that Howard is a complete package. But Aller definitely going to be a guy that Mike McCarthy is going to watch a ton. And we'll see how things progress here once regular, OTAs and minicamp come up around the corner here, and eventually training camp in St. Vincent College. McCarthy talking about Aller after rookie minicamp back on Saturday, called Aller called Aller a physically gifted thrower of the football, but he's no different than any other young, talented quarterback that he's been fortunate to work with. Said that we're going in there to adjust some fundamentals that'll help him. Great to on film, and from McCarthy, quote, "We pushed him to go 35 snaps in a team drill. That's pushing it, but he's handled it. If your quarterback can't handle it, then you don't get to speed the tempo in the pre-snap that we were able to go. I thought Drew did a hell of a job." So McCarthy, high praise for Aller and working with him throughout practice. Aller, no different than any other quarterback that McCarthy worked with. I'll believe it when I see it. I really think that Mr. Double M, Mike McCarthy, is really in love with Drew Aller. We'll see if that shows up once we get to OTAs and minicamp here. It'd be very, very interesting, and I bet all of us are going to be watching like hawks the snap differential between Mr. Drew Aller and Will Howard. Besides Aller and, the obvious media and publicity surrounding him and McCarthy, love affair right there. Got a first look at some other Steeler rookies as well. Jeremy Bernard really looks good in number 17 in black and gold. First, I think, depth chart of the year. This was something off of ESPN's website. First depth chart of the year with the rookies now put in there. Jeremy Bernard is listed as WR3, so immediately would expect behind K Metcalf and Pittman. Shows you that the think highly of as well. There's no sort of he's listed as WR5 behind Skoranek and Roman Wilson here. The rookie's got to earn his stripes. No, he is a wide receiver 3 and a damn good one, and probably going to be a very productive one at that right out of the gate here. Eli Heidenreich, got to look at him. He was mainly just doing running back stuff in drills back on Saturday. Also, I believe his buddy that he grew up playing football with in the Pittsburgh region and at Navy, Alex Texa. He was there as well. And then probably the other most intriguing part of Steelers rookie camp back over the weekend, the offensive line group. You had Max Ihornachor. He was, working pretty heavily with Jari Evans, not to the extent that McCarthy was working with Drew Aller. Of course, Aller always also the only quarterback there. So, kind of natural right there. But Jari Evans working with Max Ihornachor. Ihornachor was a primarily right tackle at practice, and they did not move him around. Also, Dunker lined up left guard. So the two big answers right there. Two offensive linemen. We said, when they were drafted, leave Ihornachor at right. That's pretty much all he played in his college and youth career. Leave him there. Don't, put him through the hassle of moving to left tackle immediately. Dunker was a tackle in college, a profile as a great guard. He can fill in that big hole, I would say, at the left guard position now that Isaac Samalu is gone. Looks like they are going to be there. Dunker at left guard, Ihornachor at right tackle. And I think you could, even this early, say that is set in stone. Mike McCarthy, and I think we've seen this in the past from him, he's not a guy that's going to, throw out smoke screens and, have guys moving all around on the offensive line, willy-nilly. He is a guy that from day one, he wants them to lock into one position. Positional versatility is, a plus, but he wants them locked in, mastering in one spot immediately. I think Ihornachor at right tackle says something, tells you that if Broderick Jones is good to go, then, he'll be in there at left tackle, and Troy Fautanu might be getting a start over Ihornachor at right tackle. If not, Troy Fautanu, was nice knowing you on the right side of the offensive line. Go back to the place where you played in college at left tackle. So Jennings Dunker as well, left guard. Not sure if there's going to be any competition between Dunker and Brock Hoffman, Spencer Anderson at left guard. But right now, if I had to guess, even just, I think I can get this much of an accurate read right off the jump here. If I had to guess, your opening week 1 starting offensive line for the Steelers, you're going to have Troy Fautanu at left tackle, Jennings at left guard, Zach Frazier, center, Mason McCormick at right guard, and then Max Ihornachor at right tackle. That is a super, super young offensive line here for your Pittsburgh Steelers. And who would be the veteran of that group? It would have to be, Frazier, right? He's the most experienced guy on the line at, 25 years old, something like that. I think he's started almost every single game in his career, except for, when he got that ankle or something 2 years ago. So, yeah, lots to read into from rookie minicamp over the weekend. McCarthy on the whole rookie class as a whole, that they've passed all the mental challenges thrown their way. They made a very, very good first impression, and they didn't all that hard. That's not McCarthy saying it. That's me saying it. McCarthy dismissed them on Saturday. I think they were supposed to go and have another practice day on Sunday yesterday, but McCarthy sent them all home because A, they were very productive, and B, them to all be moms for Mother's Day. So very busy weekend in the city of Pittsburgh for your Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, a few more deals got done as well. Did not mean to bypass these at all. 3 more rookie deals getting Riley Nowakowski, the fullback, Dalen Everett, the 3rd-round corner, and Jennings Dunker, the 3rd-round offensive guard. Those 3 men putting pen to paper on their rookie deals. That now makes 6 of the 10 draft picks for the Steelers to get deals done. I don't think, though I'm wrong, he could have, been like the first guy to sign, and it was so long ago, I forget it. I don't think Eli Heidenreich is signed yet, and the first 3 picks of the draft, they are unsigned as well. Ihanachor, Bernard, and Aller. So we'll see where things go here with the Steelers. I believe it's now off for a week until we get to OTAs coming up starting next Monday, I do believe. And we'll see if Aaron Rodgers shows up by then. We'll see where these rookies shake out on the depth chart, if there's any, adjustments to that. Drew Aller looks like he is Mike McCarthy's guy, at least from, the love show that McCarthy was putting on for Aller at rookie minicamp. And Chris Boswell, also the very first thing we talked about, he's going to be remaining a Steeler for the rest of his career, most likely. Tons to talk about, tons to get into, and I'm sure you guys have a ton of thoughts and reactions to this. Let's get into those right now in the comment section. Actually, forgot to put up the Steelers rookie minicamp banner. Pretty much all you need to know right there. McCarthy in love with Aller. To the comment section we go. Got a good bit of commenters in here. Concepts. Chris is in here. Welcome, Chris. Flacco is in here. Going to be late to my own funeral. That's all right, Concepts. Or Flacco, glad to have you anyways here on this Monday evening. What are your guys' thoughts? Rodgers no-showing the Steelers, even though I know technically the definition of a no-show is to have a plan to show or an agreement up in the first. Still, though, goes all the way side of the country to hey, I'm in, but I ain't seeing you. No, nothing from Rodgers this weekend. I wonder if there's going to be anything else later down the road that says, hey, this is why I was in Pittsburgh. This is what I was doing. I'm sure one reporter or another is going to ask him that at some point. Be very intrigued to hear what he has to say with that. And Boswell gets his deal done. Reactions here to Concepts. Wizard of Boswell deserved the GOAT kicker long-term and short-term in my mind. Next up, JPJ, then Darnell and Herbig. If we're going in that order, I would go JPJ first. You got to lock him up. Then I'd go Herbig and then Darnell. Though I would not be shocked that if you had like a hierarchy of guys looking for, big boy contracts, I would not be shocked if Darnell Washington ends up being a guy to get a deal done first over a Herbig and a Keanu Benton, because I think Mike McCarthy, he is going to want to use Darnell a ton. This is a dude who, coached up and called plays for Mercedes Lewis back, many, many years ago. I'm sure Darnell fits that profile there. McCarthy is going to want to unlock him. Football in Shorts has me hyped. I'm also liking Aller and Howard will get the additional reps they need. I think that is going to be pretty much the same throughout, the next couple of weeks. I don't think Rodgers is going to, or maybe he does. I mean, who the hell knows? I said I don't even know anymore. It's just believe Rodgers is signing and when you get the picture of him putting pen to paper to the contract on Steelers social medias. But Aller and Howard would love to see them get as many reps as possible. And then you get, Mr. Rodgers, just a handful to develop some sort of chemistry with his new targets out there. Same offense that he's ran in the past, but he's got some new toys to throw to, I should say. Bernard, Pittman out of the backfield. You got a Dowdle and maybe even Eli Heidenreich if he finds himself. Caden Weegan could be a wide receiver, even though he's wearing number 42. More on that in the extra Pittsburgh Sports News segment. I like the approach McCarthy has taken with so much upside. The arm is special. Cannot wait for the preseason. Agreed. The approach. Tell me, how do you want to develop Will Howard or Drew Aller, and how you want to attack him throughout this whole, preseason process, mini camp, training camp, all that? I would say 95% of the time we are either getting you, getting your footwork right, working on your mechanics to death. You're going to pretty much erase every single mechanic that you learned at Penn State because James Franklin's a moron and we're going to, reteach you the right way. Also, watch Aaron Rodgers. When he gets here, he'll show you all there is to do about mechanics. And also putting Aller in a film room and locking the door with Rodgers and Howard. Those two young guys in the film room, steeping up every single bit of information that Rodgers can throw their way. That is my two biggest things that I'm attacking with Aller. Those are clearly his two biggest weaknesses coming out of the draft: mechanics and processing of defenses. So working on that stuff about 95% of the time with Aller. You can work on, the throwing bit and everything and all that at a later time. That's, natural for him, and he's really good at it already. Still about McCarthy, says Flacco. Going to save my opinions until probably the appropriate approach that we all should take here. But hey, we're reacting live and in the moment to football in shorts. How can you not? I think the off season has moved along enough to the point where anything that we can drink in Steelers related, we're going to do it, even though it might not mean all that much here in the future. Concepts here. O-line's future is bright. Indeed it is. I mean, I'm very concerned about the lack of experience, even though Falatanu, Frazier, those guys are going into year 3. I'm still very concerned about the lack of experience. I'm also concerned about the gelling early on in the season here. You've got essentially 3 new parts of an offensive line right now. You got the two, of course, Dunker at left guard and Honachor at right tackle, but also Troy Falatanu. Even though he did play left tackle in college, he still got to move back over to that side, make sure, he is able to ride that bike again and get ready, and also develop chemistry with Jennings Dunker. I'm sure he developed solid chemistry enough with Mason McCormick. Well, now he's got to do it with a new guy in Jennings Dunker here. The future is bright, though. I mean, you've got, just thinking here, no matter whether it's Jones or Falatanu, you got a first-round pick at left tackle. You got a first-round pick at right tackle in Honachor. Second-round pick in Zach Frazier at center. Third-round pick in Jennings Dunker at left guard, even though I'm still shocked that he made it to as deep as he did in the third round. And then at right guard, you've got the fifth-round pick, Mason McCormick, which even, McCormick has proven to be a pretty, suitable average right guard, which is the least which is pretty damn good that you can expect of him as a 5th-round pick. So future is bright. Just got to see if the group gels together and if a few guys develop here. I mean, Dunker is going from right tackle to guard where he never played in college, and Honachor still pretty green to the game. So future is bright. Just let's, see them work a little bit. That's the limit here. That is for sure. There is a plan, but we won't know it. Talk about the whole plan with, what is it, McCarthy or Aaron Rodgers, something like that. It's Plan G here. Flacco, I'm an eternal optimist with the Steelers. Even when it seems bleak, I can't help it. Drives people crazy. Super Bowl bound always. Love that eternal optimism concepts. You concepts are the dude that brings the optimism here a bunch. So appreciate you for that. Looking here at some other comments. What about our serial killer, Boz? Did talk about that right off the jump here. Boz, 4x7 today for him. 4 years, $7 million per year. Ties him with Brandon Aubrey. Boz does it. Definitely does. Will that be a contract that looks fruitful in the end? I mean, who's to say? We have seen kickers in the past kick, well into their 40s. Adam Vinatieri comes to mind. Then Gary Anderson kick till he's 40. Maybe Boz can still do it at a high level. We'll see that. Glad he's staying in Pittsburgh, though. No sort of Leif Marhan or Skiba, anybody like that is going to come and take Boz's spot anytime soon. I expect the worst, like when we gave away Pickens. I mean, we'll see if that pans out. Now we got official news as to what the Steelers got in return for Pickens, and it's Drew Aller. And the way that Mike McCarthy is working with Aller this past weekend, you might see if that was a good investment for the Steelers sooner rather than later. Concepts here again. Just think, if Colin signs Rodgers to a 5-year deal, then we won't have to play the waiting game next year. All right, so we giving him like a Barry Bonds type of contract here, or Bobby Bonilla, type contract. Just say, hey, $5 million will space out the money and make sure you get paid well after you're retired, something like that. I mean, yeah, I'm hoping that that's not the holdup. Honestly, I did hear of that, as a possibility, but didn't think anything of it. Imagine that the whole big holdup in hullabaloo with Rodgers is that he wants like a 2-year deal or something. At that point, you got to tell him to kick rocks. You mean, really, it's just unbelievable. Nobody else wants you. You're going to be 44 years old. I mean, your highs are still pretty damn good. Your lows are cavernous. We're not going to do a multi-year contract. I'm hoping that is far from the reason as to why there's a holdup and Rodgers hasn't made a decision yet. Or maybe it's just the same thing as last year. Rodgers isn't going to want to take the heat of being under contract and not being at team functions. So maybe he's like, hey, let me watch all the team functions that I don't feel like being at, go by, and then I'll sign here. That way I can the excuse, hey, I was never under contract, so you can't yell at me for not being there. Going to the Buccaneers and Jags against us this year. That's awesome, Flacco. Go have some fun. One of my maybe bucket list places, if, God willing, I were to ever, do a traveling series where I go and see all the NFL stadiums. Definitely one of them would be the Buccaneers Stadium. Love that big pirate ship they got there. Just love Florida in general, so that's a big plus. Love to, go see that pirate ship out there. Maybe I'll wear my Pittsburgh Pirate stuff. Maybe wear this hat. I'll kind of fit in down there. Some sort of weird brother, I guess, we got there between Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay. We both love our Buccos, our Bucks. Looking here, never wear shorts. I'm a toothpick. Fucking means skinny. Yeah. Not really gonna right. Get some sun. I mean, still weather is up here in PA. Weather is still being a little bit of a misfit. It's gonna be raining, gonna be cold tonight. Absolutely ridiculous. Think Pennsylvania, from what I heard, is in for the coldest month of May that it's had in 15 years. So that's very, very exciting. Troy, Max, Broderick, Cook, our tackle depth is good. Same with guard. And even the center with McCollum as a good backup. Yeah, you got McCollum. I think Spencer Anderson can play some center in a pinch as well. But the depth is there. It's just a matter of is that depth, going to be quality? You can have depth, but if it ain't quality, then it doesn't really matter all that much. I mean, going to be honest, I had no idea or didn't remember all that much of Brock Hoffman when he signed, when he was in Dallas. I mean, THB or any other Dallas fan is in here and they want to, catch me up on how good and how reliable Brock Hoffman is as like a starter or backup. Let me know. But you got to say left tackle right now. You got Fautanu and Jones, at that spot. Dylan Cook over there as well, left guard. Hoffman, Spencer Anderson, center. Yeah, Frazier, McCollum, right guard. I think right guard is the place where the right guard is where I don't think there's a set in stone backup. You're probably looking at like Hoffman or Anderson moving over to that side to back up Mason McCormick, and then right tackle. If it's Fautanu, then you got a Honachor. If not, if it's Johanachor, maybe it will be someone else that they bring in. They don't have who was it? There was another Anderson. Can't remember his name. Not Emmanuel Anderson or something like that. There's another Anderson here. Can't remember his first name now. Looking here. If the line collapses in 3 to 5 seconds, then we're in trouble. With Aaron Rodgers, yeah. I mean, I would like for them to hold up 3 to 5 seconds, but I mean, that's just not reality. As long as they're not, having Rodgers, get crushed or pressured right when he gets the ball snapped to him and, watch all of his regressions get going, then I would take that. But we'll have to wait and see. Offensive line and the quarterback position. I think those are easily the two most watched position groups coming up here this mini camp and OTAs and training camp and such for the Steelers. 7 of you in here right now, about 40 minutes into the stream here this evening. Gonna switch up gears now, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time tonight, and head over to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Head over to baseball. Just want to talk about this for a little bit, and then we'll get into the extra Pittsburgh sports news of the day and weekend. Mixed bag from the Buccos this past weekend. They were out on the West Coast taking on the San Francisco Giants, and some things to love, some things not so much. Going back to Friday night, I believe this was after we were done talking here. It was game 1 of the series between the Buccos and the Giants. Giants were throwing a left-hander, so a pretty predominant right-handed lineup for the Bucs. No Jake Mangum for the Pirates in this series or for the next series as well. Mangum is on the 10-day IL with a hamstring injury. Nick York got called back up from AAA Indianapolis. Good start for the Buccos. Second inning, you had Marcell Ozuna, who has been kind of scuffled, but also, he shows flashes of the old Ozuna. He hit his, I think, 4th home run of the season, did Ozuna. To field, snuck over the wall. Career home run number 300 for Marcell Ozuna, the 15th player from the Dominican Republic to reach that number. Brian Reynolds in the outfield was also looking more solid defensively, was able to rob Willy Adames of a home run, but things did not go well for the Bucs pretty much from the 4th inning on. Carmen Mlodzinski, he really struggled, got, some soft contact outs, but through 4 innings, I believe it took him, up until, I think, 1 out in the 5th inning. No outs for Mlodzinski. Might have finished with 1, maybe 2 strikeouts in the game on Friday night. And Giants, once they broke through Mlodzinski, shockingly, 2nd and 3rd time through the order, that is when the damage got done. Was 2-1 after 4. Brian Reynolds, his jumping catch, did not deny the inevitable. It was 5-1 Giants, come, I think, the 6th inning, Justin Lawrence and Evan Sisk out of the bullpen, they got hit hard. Lawrence gave up 3 runs. Sisk gave up a 2-run single, though the runs were credited to Justin Lawrence. Final score wound up being 5-2. It was a rough night for the Buccos pitching staff as the game went on, and you will see a trend. You will hear me keep that trend here. Not so in the Saturday game I'm about to recap, but in the Sunday game, that is for sure. Saturday game, that is when the Bucs actually got their win in this series. It was scoreless through 4 innings. Ryan Borucki then came in, former Bucco, and when Borucki came in, the bullpen got hit around for the Giants. It was sort of a take a punch and give a punch back-to-back games for the Bucs and Giants. Brian Reynolds with an RBI single. Brandon Lau had a sacrifice fly as well, made it 2-0 Bucs. Go to the top of the 6th inning with the score 2-1. Connor Griffin, an RBI single. Joey Bart got in on the fun with a RBI single as well to make it 4-1. Spencer Horwitz in the top of the 7th inning. He gets some help from the left fielder, Elliot Ramos. Ramos must have lost it in the lights or something. He was in position to make the catch, but somehow it ended up coming in and hitting him in the arm and got past him. That made it 5-1. Connor Griffin, sacrifice fly, nice piece of solid big league hitting, making it 6-1. And yeah, things just kept on spiraling out of control for the Giants from that point on. Joey Bart kept on getting revenge against his old team, ended up going 3 for 4 in Saturday night's game. And I believe Bart in his last games is for a 330 batting average. So he's pretty hot with the bat right now. Brandon Lau, RBI triple in the 7th or top of the 7th as well. Bucs ended up putting up quite a bit of offense in the 7th inning, wound up being 10-1. Final score ended up being 13-3. back on Saturday night. The Giants brought in a position player to wrap up the game. Braxton Nash, he was absolutely nails. Again, continues to solidify his notion as the second best pitcher on this Pirates staff behind Paul Skeens. 7 innings pitched from Ashcraft back on Saturday. Just 1 run against on 6 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts. And Ashcraft, he has allowed 2 or fewer runs in 7 of his 8 starts this season. That is the highest mark in the entire major league, only behind former Bucko Clay Holmes of the New York Mets. So good stuff from Ashcraft. Good stuff from the Pirates back on Saturday, scoring 13 runs. 13 runs on a season high, 20 hits. None of those were home runs. And then you get to yesterday. And yesterday was a mix of Friday's game and Saturday's game. Buccos started off Mother's Day hot. You had O'Neal Cruz. He walked, stole second, went third on a throwing error, and then comes across to score with a Nick Gonzalez single. Gonzalez staying hot for the last month or so. He's batted, I think, .405 since mid-April. Connor Griffin, he continues to develop even more as a hitter. He's doing it all right now, Connor Griffin. Maybe not flashing as much as you would think, but he is doing it all. So offensively, base running is great, and he's spraying the ball to all fields. Now he's starting to spray the ball to all fields with power. Good stuff for KG. Bubba Chandler did have a bit of a bump in the road, I think, in the 4th inning. Bottom of the 4th was 2-1. Gave up a solo home run to Elliot Ramos to tie the game. O'Neal Cruz got that run back, though, in the top of the 5th. An opposite field home run for Cruz. I think that was his 9th home run of the year, so he is 1 away from double digits. Spencer Horwitz drove in another run with a double to make it 4-2 in the top of the 6th. Bubba Chandler, his day ended 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. You'll tend to see that from Bubba Chandler this year, for being honest here. Either he has a high strikeout total and a high walk total, or he has a low strikeout total and a low walk total. Only pitched 77 pitches, though. I wonder where Don Kelly was thinking with that. Maybe he thought getting Ashcraft out on a high note and not taking him out when he was, getting hit around was the move to help protect the kid's confidence here. But I would have let Chandler go, but still waiting for Bubba to round out his game to where he's still, got his lights out strikeout stuff, but is leaving the walks pretty low. It feels like, you're getting high totals or low totals in both categories right now, and it's really tough to evaluate right now. The decision for Don Kelly to take out Bubba Chandler, it backfired immediately. Isaac Mattson, he comes in and he gives up 3 consecutive doubles to tie the ball game up at 4 apiece. Game ended up going 2 extra innings. Ryan O'Hearn in the outfield for the Bucks made a pair of late inning defensive plays to keep the game score, keep the game tied. Top of the 10th, excuse me. Spencer Horwitz comes up clutch, drives the ball into the gap. That scores 2 runs to make it 6-4. In from the Buccos bullpen comes Johan Ramirez, and we really got the full Johan Ramirez experience. Ends up giving up a 2-run single to former Milwaukee Brewer Willie Adames. Ramirez ends up getting through the 11th inning unscathed, worked his way out of trouble again. And then the 12th inning, Buccos don't do anything offensively. Ryan O'Hearn made 2 arguably game-saving plays in the 8th and 9th inning of this ball game, and then he made 2 game-costing plays back-to-back in the 12th. Fly ball down the right field line, should have been caught. I think O'Hearn was maybe worried about where the wall was going to be and not running into it. O'Hearn, ball clanks off of his glove and falls in fair territory for extra bases. And then a little flare into right field. O'Hearn charging in on the ball. gets to the ball just as it bounces off the ground. And O'Hearn, he must have thought that the runner from third base for the Giants was tagging all the way, or was running immediately. The runner tagged, and O'Hearn catches the ball off the bounce, off the ground, nonchalantly. And before he realizes that the runner tagged up and broke for the plate, it was too late. His throw, way late, just, thing understand worrying about where the wall is. The other, this last one that cost the game, where I think the base runner thought he was going to catch it. O'Hearn thought, oh, yeah, he's already running. He's already home right now before I even get to this ball. Both men wrong. And O'Hearn not paying attention, any urgency, absolutely no excuse from Ryan O'Hearn. He saves the game, and then he, almost alone, I'm not going to put it entirely on O'Hearn because we're going to get into this Bucks bullpen here as well. O'Hearn snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Just a rough way to go there for the Bucks, and very mixed bag feeling about this series and this road trip as a whole. I guess, it isn't the worst thing in the world. You go 500 on a West Coast road trip. I think West Coast road trips, especially for East Coast teams, are always hard. You got to adapt to the time change and all that, try to catch up. But the way they lost yesterday, inexcusable. O'Hearn, the defensive gaffes, but I think more importantly, and this goes across not just this series, but the past couple series as a whole, this Buccos bullpen, it is starting to become a real problem. You have exactly, in my mind, one reliable relief pitcher where you put him out there on that mound and you know that you're going to get out of the inning without giving up any runs, and that is Gregory Soto. And he has more or less become the closer in pretty much all situations for the Buccos. Soto has been nails all season. He's quietly working on, in my mind, a all-star campaign. You go through the rest of the Bucks bullpen, who can you trust right now? I mean, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head the roster for the Buccos bullpen. You got Mason Montgomery, who they got from the Tampa Bay Rays. He's been, hot and cold this season. He's either, on it, blowing 100-mile-an-hour heat by guys, or he's getting hit around. You got Dennis Santana. He was supposed to be your closer, but he's been, getting hit around a bunch and struggling with command other times. He's given up, I think, blown 3 different save opportunities or hold opportunities this season already. You got Yohan Ramirez, I also see both sides of why a couple years ago the Bucks let Ramirez walk. Also, why they ended up bringing him back. One, he'll look like a shutdown guy who is untouchable. The next, he gets himself into trouble and doesn't always get himself out of it. I mean, who else we got here? Justin Lawrence, been, quite frankly, ass all season. Isaac Mattson, the tourniquet. Remember, he developed that nickname for himself last year. Well, this year he's more been like the Band-Aid guy, putting, as he was last year. Evan Sisk, just a minor league dude, holding a spot for whoever to come back off of injured reserve. Cam Sanders, guy, getting called up to the major leagues. Can't, deal anything, can't, expect anything great out of him. So the Bucco bullpen, it is just rough right now, aside from Gregory Soto. And I think back, looking at this bullpen now, that's why I didn't like getting rid of David Bednar, especially for the deal that they did last trade deadline. You got Bednar for what, prospects? The main guy in that deal ain't even in the majors right now. And I know Bednar, he's, got his warts to his game, but hell, he's a hell of a lot more consistent than some of these other guys that the Bucks have thrown out there on the mound this year. So don't like that. Buccos need to add. And this bullpen, one thing, that's why I am all aboard. I know he looks good. He's looked good for more than a handful of starts this season. You got to put Carmen Mlodzinski back out in the bullpen. Not because I think Mlodzinski is best suited for the bullpen, but because him being a steady Eddie guy to eat 2 or 3 innings in the 6th, 7th, 8th innings having that steady guy out there, it'll be, a confidence boost for the team and also hide some of the warts of that bullpen. So Bucco's bullpen is a real issue right now. And we thought, what are the two areas of concern with this team coming into the season? Defense and the bullpen. Both of those issues sure showed their faces in the final game of this past weekend against the San Francisco Giants. So Buccos, that series is over. They're coming back east. Now they'll be in PNC Park tomorrow night. They're off tonight. They went 3-3 on that West Coast road trip. The starting pitchers, probables for this upcoming series, Bucks begin a 3-game set with the Colorado Rockies beginning tomorrow night. It'll be Michael Lorenzen versus Paul Skeens at 6:40 tomorrow night. I'm really hoping that we get a typical Paul Skeens performance, because after the got taxed and exposed a bit this past weekend, would love for Skeens to, go out there and churn out 7-8 scoreless innings. We know he's capable of it. Hopefully that is the case. Be former Bucco Jose Quintana Keller on Wednesday. Same thing expecting there from Keller. Got me 6-7 scoreless innings. And then Carmen Machinsky will be back out there on Thursday afternoon. He'll go against Chase Dollander. Buccos, realistically, should continue this trend of at least winning the series, bare minimum, even though they're coming off of a series loss. But for some reason, the Rockies feel like a team that they got the Bucks number recently. Or maybe it's that, what was it, last year, that 9-run, or no, it was even more than that big lead that the Bucks had against the Rockies, and the Rockies came back and won it. It was like the biggest come from behind win in Major League Baseball history. So, going to be totally honest, would not be telling the truth if I said I was not a little bit nervous about the series with the Rockies. Are the Rockies a powerhouse? No. Are they off to a decent start? I think so. But this could be really a pivotal series here for the Bucks. You're still in a dogfight in your division. Feels like teams are, still winning. The Cubs are right now. The Reds, just broke their 8-game winning streak. 8-game losing streak. The Cardinals, they're pretty decent. The Brewers are always going to be in it. So the Buccos got to keep the foot on the gas pedal and not fall into, I hate calling it a trap series, but basically a trap series coming up here against the Colorado Rockies. So what say you? It was a confusing and hard weekend for the Bucks. Let's see if they can bounce back. I give this team a ton of credit. When they go through heartbreaking defeats this season, they tend to bounce back and play some of their best baseball. Hopefully they're able to chew on this in the right way, chew on this loss from yesterday afternoon, and go back at it tomorrow night and take on the Colorado Rockies, take them down. The comment section again here. We go. A couple more comments for you guys right here. Flacco here. I liked David Bednar. I did too. Also, just the whole aura that he had, the renegade coming out of the bullpen. I still have a video from a Buccos game I was at 2 years ago. That entrance closing in Bednar is absolutely sick. And I did, mention David Bednar. That's pretty much a lack for finding any better, solutions to this point. I think Bednar outing a couple of days ago where he gave up a walk-off home run for the Yankees, so he's taking it on the shins right now, but still, that trade looks bad. You gave up Bednar, and you got what exactly in return? A pitcher so far down your prospect pipeline, you don't even remember his name. A catcher in high A, who I think is doing actually quite decent, but far from the big leagues. And Rafael Flores, who was supposed to be, this great catcher with a big bat, and he can't even make it to the majors over Joey Bart or Henry Davis right now, which we all know they ain't, spring chicken. So we'll see here if anything changes with these guys. I guess he's not running through walls for us. Ryan O'Hearn, I'm not, going to get on O'Hearn. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to take what you get with the good with Ryan O'Hearn and also with the bad. We got to remember right field, not his primary position. And More times than not so far this season, he has been playing the position pretty solidly. I mean, just sucks that his two big gaffes thus far the season came in the times that they did. So we'll see here if Pirates are able to bounce back tomorrow night. Back into some football talk here for a second. We'll get to football eventually in the extra Pittsburgh sports. Steelers released veteran offensive tackle Calvin Anderson on March 2nd, 2026. That's his name, Calvin Anderson. Couldn't remember his name. I know we kept on getting a little bit confused, Spencer Anderson and Calvin Anderson. I thought Calvin Anderson was, all right as, your fourth tackle, third tackle. Just got hurt too much, which kind of sucks. Wasn't impressed with Anderson when he played for Broderick at one or two games. Then he got injured last training camp, I believe. That is correct. And to Andres Pete. Forgot about him. Remember the old New Orleans Saint offensive tackle? Ended up being the guy that got in there for an injured Broderick Jones over Dylan Cookinen. He got, I believe, concussion issues as well. I think he's gone too. Just like Flacco says here, 5 of you in here, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, please. Appreciate each and every single one of you people in here tonight, and would appreciate you even more if you ended up hitting those couple of buttons right there. Concepts here on Jeremy Bernard. Jeremy looking more and more like a steal. Seems like a great dude, and he had the talent. Back it up. Possible and Egbuka comp, smooth, physical, strong hands, leader, and versatile. You go with Egbuka. I go with a JSN more comp. Now, if he's half the player that Jackson Smith and Jigba is, then I will take that as a pretty appropriate second in the second round. But Bernard definitely does have the physical prowess and the tools. Now, they're not, knock your socks off physical traits or anything like that, but knows how to play the slot well, and physicality and will to play the game is really going to be a strong asset here to this offense. It's one thing you should expect a lot of the Steelers offense season. You expect them to play big and play nasty. I mean, backfield, you got a couple of dog running backs in Dowdle, and we all know they're not going to shy away from physical contact. Pretty much you cross your offensive line, all guys that, have wrestling backgrounds, like to, get their nose dirty, blow guys up off the line of scrimmage, hold their ground well when pass protecting. And then tight end, Freiermuth, still not the strongest blocker in the world, but you got the best blocking tight end probably in football in Darnell Washington. And then wide receiver, DK Metcalf. We know he can, lay the wood on, run blocks. Same thing with Michael Pittman. And then Jeremy Bernard work in the middle. He's going to play every single bit of that 6'1" frame he has, and even then some. So mean offense, physical style, guys that should not be lacking effort or physicality in any department. That is one thing you can write in stone and guarantee from this offense coming up this season. JSN pretty strong. Hoping so. If he can develop into JSN, Pittman, Metcalf, and Jackson Smith and Jigba-like player, talk about weapons for whoever's at quarterback. Rodgers, I'm even sure he, at the age he's at, can work with that. And Howard, Aller, those guys get in there, they'll have some reliable toys to throw to. So looking forward to seeing these wide receivers and even, the running back, Rico Dowdle, Jalen Warren, the tight ends, all these weapons in this offense. Looking forward to seeing them get utilized. 7 of you still hanging around in here. I want to real quick go to the Twitter timeline, see if we have anything new that has popped off since we've gone live to react to. Pro Aaron Rodgers source. This is from Andrew Filipponi of 93. 7 The Fan. NFL insider Tyler Dunn on a potential Rodgers-McCarthy team up in Pittsburgh. They'll be at each other's throats. They'll be fighting again in no time. The relationship was bad at the end in Green Bay. Yikes. That's been a question that not too many of us have paid attention to. Will Rodgers and McCarthy be able to put those things that went bad in Green Bay behind them. We'll have to see here. If that is the case, if they do get at each other's throats like this, who's to say that McCarthy doesn't say, all right, Aaron, well, you want to do this stuff? Then we'll go to the kid immediately, Aller or Howard. Not necessarily going to say that would be the worst thing in the world, but you got to wonder here. Seeing if there's anything else going on here. Seeing a ton of Connor Griffin stuff. Griffin has been unbelievable lately. Been really developing into a full-rounded baseball superstar. And it's the type of stuff where you can see Griffin and see all that he's doing right now and come to an easy conclusion that, hey, that guy right there, yeah, he's going to be a 30 home, a 30, who maybe even 40 guy at some point in his career. Going to get into some NFL schedule stuff here. Just, not too much. NFL league schedule officially comes out here on Wednesday, so we'll know when and where the Steelers are playing their opponents here in about 48 hours. We do have a new schedule leak here. The Dallas Cowboys will be hosting the Philadelphia Eagles on Thanksgiving. Okay, there's one game. Feels like the Cowboys always play on Thanksgiving against the Eagles, though. That should set up for a fun matchup. Also, who is going to be the Lions' opponent? We all know the Lions are going to play on Thanksgiving. Just see when exactly that is. All right, let's do it. Getting extra Pittsburgh sports news for this Monday, May 11th, and also a couple things from over the weekend as well. Beginning in the extra Pittsburgh sports news in hockey, first time we've mentioned the local hockey team today. The Penguins fans smile Butcher's dogs over the weekend. The Philadelphia Flyers, they get swept by the Carolina Hurricanes in the second round. It was never a close series from the start. The Flyers, they go down in flames, and it is just an absolute beautiful thing to celebrate. Also, the 76ers as well, they get swept in the NBA second round of the playoffs. So tough times for the city of Philadelphia, and you absolutely love to see it. But hey, Flyers, go hang that banner. They beat the Penguins and 38-year-old Sidney Crosby in the 2020 playoffs. Meanwhile, we'll be looking up at our banners of 5 Stanley Cup championships. Not relate whatsoever. So have fun out on the golf course there, Philly. You won the same amount of games as the Pittsburgh Penguins did. On to actual Penguins news here. Got a couple of reports from various NHL insiders over the weekend about pending free agents. Ryan Shea here. This from Josh Yohe of the Athletic. Per Ryan Shea, an unrestricted free agent this summer, would love to return to the team. Has a genuine affection for the franchise. Wants to strike a deal with Kyle Dubas. I like that. I like that a lot. I really think Ryan Shea was really, really underappreciated this past season for the Penguins. I mean, Shea, left side of that defense group, you had Parker Watt, of course, as a shutdown guy. Shea behind Wotherspoon, he wasn't, that much of a drop-off when it comes to defensive production, being technically and responsibility-wise sound in your own zone. And as a third pairing, maybe even a second pairing guy with Chris Letang at times, bringing back Ryan Shea, let's say they strike a deal on a 3-year, $3 million, $4 million deal, something like that. That's a deal I'm doing all day for the Pens. Also, not like Ryan Shea is blocking some star-studded left-handed shot defenseman here. So getting Shea back in the fold, I think, is good. Would be good to, steady this Pens defense. Guys not expected to return to the Pens, though. Two obvious guys here. Yohe says that the Penguins are not expected to bring back UFA Kevin Hayes. And on that note, the sky is blue, water is wet, and hell is hot. Yeah, Kevin Hayes being gone, no sort of shock. There was a healthy scratch for pretty much the entire season. Stuart Skinner as well, not expected to be back. Second time we've heard this. We heard it first from Yohe a couple of weeks ago. Now Bruce Garrioch of the Ottawa Citizen, he not only says that the expectation is Stuart Skinner will not be a Penguin next season, but that the Ottawa Senators in the Atlantic Conference could be a top landing spot for Stuart Skinner. That would set up for a very interesting goaltending team there in Ottawa, assuming that Linus Ullmark stays. Ullmark and Skinner. Wonder what that would be about. This another report this weekend from an NHL insider, but I'm going to pay attention to this because as long as there is delusion, there is hope that Austin Matthews, Pittsburgh Penguin next year. Elliot Friedman said that he heard Austin Matthews, and of the Toronto Maple Leafs, he might take his time and wait until July to make a decision on if he wants to remain with the Leafs or not. He says he wants to wait and see. Elliot Friedman, that Matthews wants to wait and see what the Leafs do at the draft and or agency before making that decision. If you're the Leafs, makes no sense to wait that long to get an idea from Matthews. But hey, Matthews, Austin, please do all the drama stuff that you can. You know, Toronto has beat you on the shins with a wooden stick for long enough. Please do your worst. You know, hold them at will. You know, have them do, you know, hog tie their hands, lower your value so much that Kyle Dubas can swoop in and get you for as good of a bargain deal as possible. So do your thing, Austin Matthews. Pittsburgh is for you with open arms. That's at least my take on it. Last two things here for news on the Pens today. Bill Zonin, first-round pick from the Penguins last year, Zonin was the, I think, second of the 3 first-round picks. You had Ben Kindle, of course. He was a stud, picked at 11th overall. Then you had Bill Zonin. He was picked, I think, in the teens. And then Will Horkoff was the final of the first-round picks last year for the Pens. Horkoff coming off an outstanding season, Michigan Wolverines. Zonin, an amateur contract, spare Scranton Penguins during their AHL playoff run. Zonin will be in the lineup for this playoff run at some point per Kirk McDonald, Wilkes-Barre head coach. So you will get to see one of the Pens' first-round picks soon enough. Last thing, happy birthday today. My favorite superstar Penguin of all time, Brian Rust. Big game Brian Rust today, celebrating, I believe, his 35th birthday. If he stays here long, future Penguins captain after Sidney Crosby retires here in Brian Rust. At least that is my hope. Moving over from hockey into baseball, extra Pittsburgh Pirates news for the day. This pretty damn big, and hopefully it is the beginning of a Connor Griffin-like climb up through the Pirates farm system in a hurry. 19-year-old pitcher, first-round pick from last summer, Seth Hernandez, is getting elevated from low A Bradenton to high A Greensboro, so the climb to the big leagues for Seth Hernandez has officially begun. The number 2 pitching prospect in all of baseball, according to MLB Pipeline and Baseball America. You got the stats here for Seth Hernandez. 6 starts with the Bradenton Marauders, 28 innings pitched, a 0.96 ERA, and get ready for this, 50 strikeouts for Mr. Hernandez, a sub-1 ERA, and half 100 strikeouts in 28 innings for Seth Hernandez. That is freakish production from a 19-year-old. His most recent performance as well for Hernandez, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, just 1 walk, 9 Ks. Kid is unfrickin' believable, and you're talking about if Connor Griffin were a pitcher type prospect here with Seth Hernandez. Still have no freaking clue how he fell to the Bucks at, I think it was 6 last summer, kind of like how we were all confused as hell how Connor Griffin fell to 8 or 9, whichever spot he was drafted in, and the Bucks got another one on the way. I mean, you look at the Pirates and their pitching staff, you got Skeens, you got Chandler, he's kind of, the guy you're, a little shaky on right now. Mitch Keller is Mitch Keller. Ashcraft is developing into a stud. Carmen Majinski's pretty solid, first 2 times through the lineup. Jared Jones, he's going to be back soon enough. Ben Charrington said this weekend that his next rehab start's going to be tomorrow night in Altoona. He'll be back probably at the end of the month. And now you got Seth Hernandez on the way. That is unreal if you're the Buccos. And they truly are maybe the best pitching factory in the entire major league. So we'll see here. God, I hope that the collective bargaining agreement that's up here in the big leagues, I hope that there is some reality, and that it's this one out there where we get to see a front end of a starting pitching rotation of Skeens, Jones, Keller, Ashcraft, and then Seth Hernandez. Probably Hernandez in the 3 spot. Put him right in the middle of that rotation. Gosh, you salivate about thinking about that pitching staff if you're the Buccos. The last thing here for the Buccos today, by the way, this one pretty minor. Memorial Day Monday, the Bucs are scheduled to take on the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. That game time got changed today. Was originally supposed to be a 6:40 p.m. start time on Memorial Day. It is now a 1:35 p.m. Start time here. That is the first of a 4-game set against the Chicago Cubs coming up here, I believe, next week. Or 2 weeks from now, excuse me. So keep an eye on that, see if that changes anything. And wrapping up here, ladies and gentlemen, extra Pittsburgh Steelers sports news from the past few days. Of course, like I said, the NFL schedule will officially be released by this time on Wednesday. We do know that the Steelers will not be getting an old visit from head coach Mike Tomlin, former head coach Mike Tomlin. The Dallas Cowboys and New York Giants, they will be the first Sunday night football game of the season in week 1. Thought that, maybe NBC missed a golden opportunity there. Could have had Tomlin back in Pittsburgh for the first Sunday night of the season. But hey, it is what it is. Just a reminder of the opponents this year for the Steelers. Besides a home and an away game against the 3 AFC North opponents, the Ravens, Bengals, and Browns, the Steelers with home games against the Atlanta Falcons, Carolina Panthers, Denver Broncos, Houston Texans, and Indianapolis Colts. Their away games, they've got an extra away game this season, will be against the Jaguars, the Patriots, Saints, Eagles, Buccaneers, and Tennessee Titans. We'll see if any of those away games are possibly a game across the pond. There has been some scuttlebutt and rumors saying that the Steelers could go for an international game again. Apparently, there was some issue with the Jaguars not wanting to play the Steelers over in London or something. They want to keep all that revenue money for themselves in Jacksonville. So we'll see here. One that does intrigue me, I could see on the schedule on Wednesday. I think there's supposed to be a game in France, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think that the New Orleans Saints yet. They're supposed to be one of the teams playing in France. I believe that is the first game, international NFL game in France. Would not be shocked if the Steelers end up being that opponent for the Saints. Of course, you get the Saints, which, they've kind of got some sort of a French thing going on with their lineage. But the Steelers, a prominent, top of the top NFL franchise going to France. I think the NFL is going to want to send a big name over there to play the Saints, and it might be the Steelers. So keep your eye on that. Last thing here, just a couple of roster things for the Steelers. Jacoby Windman, linebacker who's been on the team a couple of times throughout mini camp, training camp, stuff like that. He was released from the Carolina Panthers back on Thursday, and he was at Steelers rookie mini camp over the weekend. So Jacoby Windham, welcome back to the Berg. Also welcome to the Berg center, Greg Crippen. He was an undrafted free agent that the Steelers signed just a couple of hours ago. They waived offensive tackle Satoa Lome. Crippen here was a center, I believe a backup center too, for the national champion Michigan Wolverines, played in 40 games over his career. The last things here for the Steelers. A couple of former Steelers on the move. or I should say one former Steeler and one former AFC North opponent of the Steelers on the move. Scotty Miller, indeed, signing a 1-year deal with the Chicago Bears, tried out with them in their rookie camp, and no shock, he latched on probably as a return man. And also, David and officially gone. Like Njoku is going to be one of those one helmet guys with the Browns. Well, the Browns, they got Harold Fannin, and they said, hey, we're good here with Fannin and Njoku. Best of luck elsewhere. He is heading to the LA Chargers on your deal. So good luck to him out there. And also remember all that big, sort of up in arms thing people had with Caden Weegan wearing number 42 as a wide receiver. Apparently Weegan, immediately after we were done live streaming back on Friday, went to his Instagram and said, quote, "Don't worry, folks. We will have a new number for the season for sure." So everybody calm down. All these numbers are just temporarily used until we get to the regular season and rosters get cut. And that'll do it for the extra Pittsburgh sports news for it today. Just one last look here at Twitter before we log off. Anything left to talk about before we head off into this new week? I want to appreciate you all stopping by here. This was pretty damn good Monday night stream. This was very Steeler heavy, with the whole Rodgers thing this weekend, mini rookie camp, Chris Boswell extension. Glad that got done. We'll have to see here if there is going to be any other exciting news between, for the rest of this week before we get to Monday and we get to, the regular mini camp here. I think that's going to do it. Not seeing anything else here on for about an hour and 20 minutes and change here tonight. So this was great. Want to thank you all. On your way out, please subscribe to the channel. Turn notifications so that you never miss a thing here on the channel again. Like, share, leave a comment in the comment section after the fact. Go check out the channel at Steel City SR on Facebook, Instagram, and X, and tune back in eventually for a new edition of SCSR 60 at some point tonight. So thank you all. Going to get myself a drink. Throat getting kind of scratchy here. We'll probably reconvene, not tomorrow, but probably Wednesday when we get the new schedule for the Steelers. I'm sure we'll type the schedule, front to back to front, all that. And we'll have some other things to talk about by then. We'll see if there's any new stuff on Aaron Rodgers. Is there any contract extension negotiations going on with another Steeler? Is there going to be any good news with the Pittsburgh Pirates after they get a game done in their series with the Colorado Rockies? We'll have to wait and see. We'll reconvene back here on Wednesday. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your Monday night. Go enjoy, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, whatever tickles your fancy. And we'll be back here together on a Wednesday. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your Monday night. Peace.